Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. Dude, it's Shark Week.
That's probably not the best use of our resources.
We all know how that story ends.
Yes! I'm not going to die alone! Yeah! 5 stars! Suck it!
I've had more drugs to eat today than food. That can't be healthy. Thanks, boss.
Ass at this game! I hit a zombie in the face! You did? Nice job!
Welcome, welcome, welcome!
To the Homebodies with brendanAbradley.
Movement? Have I been talking this whole time? Oh my goodness. Hello. Greetings. Greetings to anyone who has been probably telling me from the chat that my microphone has been off this entire time. That tells you about how today is going. Goodness me. Well, look, we're going to bring it back. We don't have an agenda. We don't have a schedule. I'm going to actually open the chat because that was closed. Just to catch you up, I have been chatting into an empty microphone. How thrilling for everyone. There's 6 of you that somehow stayed just to watch my dumb face move with no audio, so thanks for that. Hello, welcome. Happy Thursday. I'm going to back it up and start the show over again because why not? Practice makes better.
We will begin with a 10-mile run.
Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. Dude, it's Shark Week.
That's probably not the best use of our resources.
We all know how that story ends.
He's lying!
more drugs to eat today than food. That can't be healthy. Thanks, boss.
This game. I hit a zombie in the face. You did? Nice job.
Welcome
To the Homebodies with Vern Bradley.
Oh boy, it was so nice we did it twice. This is the Homebodies found February 4th, 2021, coming to you with sound this time. Thanks to everybody in the chat who was lovingly shouting at me while I was talking into a dead microphone. Plugging things in helps. It helps. I mean, doesn't hurt anyway. It's your daily escape from your newsfeed to join your fellow homebodies and talk about all the stories no one is talking about. The global health crisis is extremely important with over 105 million cases and 2.27 million deaths worldwide, and I advise you to use the amazing online resources to keep you and your community safe and informed. But here on the Homebodies, we're going to leave all that to the experts, as there are clearly no experts here, and I invite you to turn all that off for an hour and talk about something other than the one thing that everybody is talking about with your fellow Homebodies on a daily show. You can join the conversation, and thank you to those that did, at our Discord channel, homebodies.live. That's homebodies.live. Coming up in the show, we've got Novid news that's viral stories, not about a virus. The Future Stage is a peek behind the digital curtain to my experiments in virtual storytelling. I'm really looking forward to that today because there's some homework that I've been wanting to do, and I thought I should actually do that on the stream. I see so many people just kind of like hang out and do their work on stream, and I was like, I can do that and show y'all a peek at what I've been working on and what's coming up next. But first, of course, we should check in with our virtual video village. Traditionally on a film set, the crew can see what's happening on a cluster of screens to make changes and collaborate in real time. And this is called Video Village. Now, as a Scrappy Storyteller, I have never had the budget to be able to have this on my set. I've actually rarely had a monitor. I've just trusted my director of photography and my cinematographers. But I figured since we're working at home, I could actually show you a single take from a day of filming, collaborate with you, the virtual community. As Hollywood and Broadway remain shut down, how do we tell stories in isolation? To explore this, Ashley Clements and I are creating a film in chronological order. Each day we improvise the next scene in the story, set up cameras, rehearse, and film each other, or try. I'm very bad at keeping people in focus. We don't know where the story is going, and we invite you to join us for the adventure, give us feedback, and even collaborate as our virtual crew and cast. Some of you have noticed that I've been dropping the virtual video village take or scene onto TikTok so far every single day after I've done the show, with kind of a call to action or invitation. There are screens or phone calls in our world that I'm thinking we could use the duet feature. Gained a lot of inspiration from things like Bridgerton and Ratatouille the musical, where folks crowdsourced the story and the characters and the concepts and the narrative arcs from all over the globe. So if you've got a camera, you want to play along with us, you can basically insert yourself in the scene. We are making up our side of the script and the conversation, just kind of dramatic improvisation. If you're familiar with Carol Churchill or Mike Lee, to kind of find the story beats and the characters. So this is not scripted. I could certainly write something, but it's kind of fun to allow you to bring whatever you want to bring to that side of the conversation, that character, and put yourself in our world. So jumping right into our video village today, we're going to look at this scene that I've cut together. This is Ashley's character, Elle, coming back from work. We saw her on the phone call coming home. Now she's coming in. This is our way to kind of establish their world, basically their home, which is where they're going to spend a lot of our time in the story. And we kind of get the sense of her character, checking through bills, moving over, and then we look out the window to see Cam, who previously was lying about how far along he was in dinner, and pan up from him burning the heck out of a steak to Elle standing in the window and being like, I'm going to just drink this bottle of wine. Now, this is a trick shot that we actually used a little bit of VFX in because there's only two of us, literally. That's the whole crew. So if Ashley's on screen, I'm filming. If I'm on screen, Ashley's filming. And if we're both on screen, it's the ghost. It's the ghost. That's what tripods are for. But we're trying to give a lot of movement when we can, when there's only one of us on screen, to kind of bridge the gap. So as we scroll up here, Ashley is panning from me, locking off the camera, running around, entering, and then looking through the window, and we just kind of get rid of that middle part. So it looks like as soon as the camera comes up, she enters the window. And there we are. It's not too fancy, but it's cool to do stuff kind of in camera, if you will, kind of tricks to be able to make it seem like we are both in a shared universe, even though there's only two of us filming on either side of it. I'm going to throw into the chat real fast. Thank you to Spencer, who's hanging out there, who told me to check my microphone. Thank you. I can see there's a group of us in YouTube. If I can figure out the other side of the conversation with your editor, I'll do it. Well, the editor is me. So let me know. If you need more gaps in time, we can always work it out. It doesn't have to line up perfectly. The idea really is to discover people who might want to play and have the equipment to play and the willingness to kind of enter the universe. And then we can more formally, record stuff instead of on TikTok. We could record like actually on phones using like higher quality and actually drop it into the story. So don't feel like, if you don't have the perfect joke or the perfect, kind of character or dialogue in that moment, the idea is to just kind of play and find it together. So that's my little peek at today's scene of the virtual video village.
No vid news. Viral stories, not about a virus.
We're going to move into our Novid news. This is viral stories, not about a virus. And these are going to be some very quick hits because I did not have the time to get to this today. So I'm literally just going to go see what is trending on the internet and read that off and riff on it, in real time. We'll see how that plays out. Always a good thing. Always a good thing. Let's pull up my proper background. My internet is kind of chugging. First it was the microphone, then it was the Wi-Fi. Oh boy, I tell you what. House votes to remove Marjorie Taylor Greene from committee roles. Today is World Cancer Day. Bye Felicia is trending. I imagine that has something to do with Marjorie Taylor Greene. A hair mishap video is going viral, and it comes with a beauty lesson. That sounds... Tessica Brown explained in a video that her hair is stuck in its current style, a low-braided ponytail, because she accidentally applied Gorilla Glue to it a few weeks ago. Oh no, poor Tessica. This is terrible, but good on her. She's covered for all this time. I wouldn't have been able to get away with that. Like, she played it off, and I guess now she's just letting us know, like, so here's the real deal. For those that don't know, I was the Staples guy, the spokesperson for Staples for 3 years, and I have this weird cowlick that grows in the back of my head, and it kind of sticks up sometimes alfalfa style when you part my hair a very specific way, which is how they wanted guys' hair to be parted, my character for them. So every time they would part my hair that way, they actually would Elmer's glue the back of my cowlick down. And I would then have to flake it out when I got home every night. So, we're all, we've all been there. We've all had our mishaps, Tessica, and good luck getting that out or growing it out. You might just have to cut it out. You never know. Let's see here. Looking at Blizzard trending, the game company, during an earnings call, Activision Blizzard said it does not expect Overwatch 2 or Diablo 2 to launch in 2021. That's disappointing for some. I don't play either of those games. I'm really excited. I've seen the new Resident Evil 2nd and 3rd trailer has been getting a lot of buzz. Just incredible, especially as somebody who has been working now in animation on my own kind of lo-fi DIY process. When I see like a professional studio that literally has their like own gaming engine to render things, it is magic what they can create. Just absolutely magic. So I'm looking forward to seeing things like that. The SAG Awards. Actors Lily Collins and Daveed Diggs announced the nominees for the 27th Annual Screen Actors Guild Awards, which is set to take place on April 4th. Catch all the highlights from the Thursday morning ceremony, and we navigate through the list of those. It's very exciting. I gotta tell you, I got snubbed. I'm not on the list, y'all. Spoiler alert. Riz Ahmed is sharing his SAG Award nomination for Sound of Metal. I've heard amazing things about that. I just talked about The Dig the other night. The other day and night. And Mank is getting a lot of attention. Chadwick Boseman, the first to have 4 nominations in 1 year in the film categories. If you've not seen his piece, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, it is absolutely extraordinary. I just thought he did such an incredible performance, regardless of it being... obviously, the tragedy of his passing, the idea that, like, his performance is just riveting. Like, you watch it and you go, like, he's going to win something. So just really lovely to see that work brought to life. Scrubbing through. A lot about who got snubbed. Okay. Well, so did I. I got snubbed as well. And Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso. If you've not watched Ted Lasso, I've heard it described as warmcore, kind of a return to like more warm, fuzzy, pleasant, emotional experiences on screen. And it's a delightful show. I've watched it literally twice, front to back already. It's been picked up for 3 seasons, even though season 2 hasn't happened yet. But we deserve it. We deserve it. It is a treat. It's a lovely treat. If you have a favorite show, you can let me know in that chat over at the Discord, homebodies.live. I'm going to wind down on our Novid news here to get into our kind of more leisurely segment. It's time for some future stages. This is a peek behind the digital curtain at the things I've been working on. For those that don't know, I was doing this show last year. I did 40 consecutive shows with a lovely community and people who called in, gave stories, suggested ideas for the show. We made up segments. It was incredible. And then I released a virtual reality theater on Mozilla Hubs, and my life changed completely. I've basically been doing live performances using virtual technologies and tools ever since. It's been really exciting. I'm continuing to develop and collaborate on more projects each and every day, which is how I lose track of time all the time. Today I literally spent hours trying to download an open source piece of technology that never worked. And I looked up at the clock and was like, oh, that's where the day went. That's cool. So when things work, it's great. When they don't, you learn something, or you cry, or you do both. So today I actually have some homework that I wanted to kind of include y'all on. And you let me know in the chat, ask any questions that you have. Spencer says The Crown and The Great both got some award noms. I love them both. I agree wholeheartedly, especially The Great. I really, really enjoyed The Great, and I can't wait for it to come back. Some might say it was great. All right, I'll see myself out. Moving into the future stages, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a window capture to actually share Chrome inside of OBS so I can share it with you on the show. What does this look like? The live show chat. Here we go. So there's the Discord that I've got open right now. You don't need to see that because you're probably already on it. But I'm going to open up Mozilla Spoke, which is Mozilla's companion to Mozilla Hubs. So Mozilla Hubs is their social virtual reality platform that literally anybody can log in from almost any web-connected device using the browser and go into a 3D room, basically like virtual reality, but on your computer desktop screen. And it's super cool. I've been playing a lot in it and allowing a lot of people to come check out my work in it. I built this theater that should now be on the screen. And this is kind of the back end of it. This is called Spoke. This is their building tool. So you can literally grab, I'll show you down here, you can grab like models or ground planes or lighting effects or spawn points and import pretty much any 3D object into the world. And so I actually designed this theater outside of the world because it's fairly complicated and brought it in just as a single model that I could play with. And that's how I've been building stuff inside of Mozilla Hubs, which has been super, super fun. And hold on, just resizing myself on the screen, editing on the fly. Oh, my kingdom for a producer. My kingdom for a producer. So now what we'll do is we'll just walk around. What's cool is in Spoke. So if you were in Mozilla Hubs, if you went to one of the rooms using this, what's called a template or a templated space, you would use your arrow keys to just walk around the theater. Throw some music on, some jams. Inside of Spoke, though, you can just hold down the right key of your mouse and use those same WASD arrow keys to just walk around this model and this space. So what we did was we took this theater, we threw some water on the floor to make it an ocean, we put a boat in the middle, and you can see placeholders for where the avatars for the actors could actually perform inside the boat, surrounded by an audience. Pretty nifty, pretty fun. However, what we want to do is start opening up rehearsals again to kind of bring more people into the show, to maybe talk about a longer run of the show, to talk about developing the show further. And to do that, we need people to, when they get here, to actually understand what's going on. And so what we've got here is this lobby where I had just thrown up some basic artwork for people to kind of, you You walk into a theater and you see the actors' headshots and the poster for the show and yada, yada, yada. And there's a little equity Broadway Cares Equity Fights Aid bucket here to suggest that you could donate. And I have a little link that'll populate over top of that for people to automatically donate from inside the experience. But what we've been thinking about is there's something called the Museum of Oddities. That is a virtual reality experience. It's like a true tethered to a headset experience. You can't access it any other way. And you walk through this little museum and you can pick up objects and interact and things like that. And we thought maybe if we turn the lobby of the theater into a place where you can actually interact with objects from the show or learn more about the show, that might be a cool thing to do. And so I figured I would just kind of pop in here today and start throwing some objects around and hearing from you your questions about what is all this nonsense? How did the show work? Will allow me to then know what objects might need to be in here. So, for example, we used this simple water to be able to turn the floor into water, which I'm doing right now, which is cool and fine, but it kind of takes up a lot of space and it's hard to understand. So the idea being that if I just shrink this down to a small little area of water, I could just showcase it almost like a fabric swatch in 3D space. I maneuvered around. Let's make it on the x-axis, 90 degrees. So now you could actually walk over and you could see this little swatch of water and be like, oh, that's the stage 4. How interesting. Similarly, we had a rabbit prop in the show. So I can kind of go through my assets here. And I believe somewhere in here I have the bunny. Or I can go get one. There we go. There's our little bunny. So put him out here so that audience members can actually interact with it when they come in the lobby of the theater and be like, oh, like that's how that works. Now, this is just using it as a model, which is fine, but there is something called a spawner, which will actually allow that object to be respawned every single time someone grabs onto it. So everybody could walk in the theater, grab it, and have their own bunny. So I think I want that to be the bunny. So I'm going to click on the bunny, steal the URL for the model, go back over to the spawner. It came in as this little duck. And instead, I'm going to put the bunny there in the duck's place. My music fades so quickly. All right. So this is a place where the bunny is actually quite tiny. If I shrink these down. So that seems to be a very small bunny. Let's see if it was 0.1 instead. Yeah, it's a more approachable bunny. Put him up here, bring him over. And these are just real quick and fast ideas for like how I might like assemble some things to go through. Dwayne, thank you. He says it's amazing. If you have any questions about it, let me know. Oh, Spencer says there's something. Is it because of the texture of my voice? Excellent. You're welcome. I tried to pull the microphone back. Alrighty. And the question is, I would actually love your input. Is it nice to see the cast when you first walk in? Or do you think that the cast could maybe be on more of the side and the back walls, this kind of gallery space over here, and that you'd want to know more about the actual show itself? Maybe screen grabs from it, of the actual live performance, or a video, or a GIF playing, or these little assets that I just brought in that I put on the table. Any ideas or thoughts like that, just let me know, because I'm just trying to figure out like what someone would want to do if they entered this space and I wasn't there to kind of walk them through, give them a tour, explain what the heck was going on. So yeah, I'm just going to pull some stuff in here. I do enjoy, you can import PNGs and they will come in transparently. So I can actually like put decals on the wall and stuff like that. That's from this one's from a talk that I gave where I decaled up the walls. Stuff like that is fun. I think show stills would look cool. Thanks, Spencer. Appreciate that. Where do you think that should go? Should it be right when you come in, you know, oh, that's what they did? Or do we bury the lead a little? Do we make them wander in before they actually get to see what's going on? On that note, I've got to find where I hid my stills from myself. I know they are here somewhere. Do. I think having the cast first makes sense, like a 3D playbill. Nice. So that's helpful. See? Thanks, y'all. This is very helpful. Real-time feedback. Excellent. I've got to figure out where on my computer I hid my stills from myself. There we go. I can only bring in one file at a time, so let's bring in the avatar still and then the view from above still. So here's this one, which just gives a basic sense of how we laid out the show. Try to bring it closer to my camera. Throw back on some music for you. Just a little jams. I like working to something that isn't copyright protected. That's been what's fascinating about going on TikTok is that you can just license pretty much any song in real time. And having been hit with copyright strikes for a decade, it is crazy. You can just use anything. So this is what the show looked like with the audience sitting around and then the 3 avatars in the boat. And then we put a video on the back wall with the actors in their headsets performing so that you could choose to look at kind of the puppeteers, if you will, or you could choose to look at the puppets, if you will, in the center of the screen. So the idea being, where do we think we're going to move this to? So for now, I'm just going to throw it on the kind of this back wall here because it's a place to go. So when you come in, you'll just see it kind of around there. What's up, Marga? How you doing? Thanks for joining. I'm going to say I literally can't work with something in the background. Yeah, Spencer, I got to have some jams. Something to keep the voices out. I could also just turn the entire side wall, gallery style, into this image so that you really know, oh, there's a big cool image back there that I want to go check out. Maybe that's what we'll do for now. And then if I feel like that's real estate that could be better used later, I can look into that. But yeah, for now, you walk in and you know, like, oh, there's like a thing back there. Cool. So yeah, so that gives the sense of that. And then maybe a close-up over here. For this image. Which axis am I rotating on? There we go. 90 degrees. And we'll make it a little bigger. Throw it back towards the wall there. How far away is that wall? Goodness. There we go. There we go. Keep going. Yes, there it is. Right, so that needs to be larger. And down a little bit. Over a little bit. Still needs to be a little bigger. Sweet. Cool. It's not a thing. So for now, the idea that people would walk into this space, and I can label these things a little better, you know, but they'd walk in the door, they'd see the cast around them, they'd see other things on these walls back here and know like, oh, let me go see what this is about. Oh, this must have been the show. And I could put some text down here to kind of explain, is bandwidth a concern? Would an abundance of images or videos result in a lag? It kind of would. There is kind of a threshold at which you don't want to surpass, but as long as these images, I just compress the heck out of them. These are very small files. It's really when you like, you know, if 20 people were in the room and they all spawned this bunny guy over here, the polygons on that might actually crunch up everything and chug it up. So that's the real concern actually, is less kind of like smaller images or smaller files. It's really when you start getting into media, be it 3D objects or video. You know, for example, there used to be a giant spotlight in here that hit the water and looked really sexy and cool. And some headsets can't play it, mobile can't play it, and it crashes the experience for probably 40% of people. So, you know, cooler environment or 40% more people can watch it. These are the producer decisions that we all make. But so I actually took all the lights except for ambient light out of here, and these lights that are in the grid are just fake. They just look like they're illuminated based off of textures. And same with this light on the ceiling. It's just creating kind of reflections that are what we call baked in. It's not a real light, so it wouldn't cast shadows or anything like that. But it's stuff like that just to make the world feel more dynamic, even though it's not. It's not real. None of it's real. I don't want to throw you guys. I feel like I can trust you. None of this is real. Thanks, Marga. It looks cool as always. Well, sometimes it doesn't. There's a process. Dwayne, sounds like a VIP room or Patreon experience to me. Absolutely. What is cool is I can give this room link out. I could drop it in the chat right now. If I published it as a room, this is, again, the back end of it where you actually design the room or build the room, called Spoke. But Mozilla Hubs, which is the room component, I could give the link out and y'all could show up and we could all hang out in 3D space together on our computers, which is awesome. And maybe we'll do that on a homebody sometime. That could be fun. If we get over about 30 people, sometimes the experience can crash. But let me know in the Discord, homebodies.live, homebodies.live, if you have a headset, if you have an iPad, if you have if you just use Chrome on your computer, so I get a sense of like what everybody's technology is that they could have access to and how many people would maybe want to show up. And maybe on one of the homebodies one day, I'll just ambush y'all with a room link so we can all go hang out together. So those are some quick assets. I think I need to build in Photoshop like some text to kind of explain what all this is and throw them up on the wall like decals. Kind of like you're in a museum and you see little nameplates where you're like, do this. So I could be like, hey, grab the rabbit, and you now have a rabbit. Or click here for the virtual playbill that'll open up a browser link that actually has a website where people can read more information, watch more about the story. But this has been a way to just kind of quickly plug some stuff in here so I can then jump in headset and see how it loads, how it doesn't load, what makes sense and what doesn't, and what needs further explanation. So I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me while I threw these things in here. And then in the top right, I'm just going to hit this publish button. I think. I can tell my internet is chugging. So I'm sure that's a little glitchy on your end. Sorry about that. So I'm just going to save and publish it. What it's going to do is package the scene to export it. And then it's going to give me an actual report. Dwayne was asking in the chat about how kind of bandwidth issues work. It's going to actually let me know where some of the failure points might be, where it's really bottlenecking, just so that I'm aware of it. So we look at our polygon count, it's low. Our materials, we're a little high in the material count, but that's because the theater is so dynamic and I'm throwing a bunch of images and stuff in there. A lot of textures, 2 whole lights. What's funny is it says low, but honestly, Hubs doesn't recommend more than 1 light. So 2 lights is actually pretty high. And file size high at 67 whole megabytes. So that just gives you a sense of, they recommend no bigger than 16 megabytes. There's another VR platform that I've played a little on called Frame VR, which is fantastic, but you can't go more than 15 megabytes on your entire project or it won't let you publish it. So this will at least let me say like, yeah, I know it's going to be heavy, whatever. But others just won't even, they'll just be like, no, get out of here. Take stuff out. That's too much of an experience. Too much experience. No one's ever said that about the homebodies. Speaking of, I should probably wind down and put food in my body. That's a thing that people do sometimes, I've got to imagine, right? Thanks so much for hanging out with me on the homebodies. I know this was an impromptu, slightly later than normal, but it was good to check in with everybody and show you a little peek behind what I'm working on and doing. It's so great to see you all, or read you all, and hang out with y'all. I'm going to try to get back to a more normal daily schedule as we look into next week. This was my first week back on the show. I'll do our Big Friday show tomorrow, but this is my first week back to kind of just see where the problems are, of which there were many. There's a lot of work to do over the weekend. Thank you so much for giving me an escape from my timeline to not talk about the one thing everybody is talking about. Be safe, be kind to each other, go create something, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.